Hey, is this Jenny?
Yeah, this is Jenny.
Hey, Jenny, my name is Colton. I work with Chance that talked with you a little bit earlier on the solar.
Uh-huh.
Is now he had you on the schedule to talk now, and he ended up having to take off a little early, so he asked that I call you. Is now a bad time?
Yeah, sure, I have time.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So I've got some numbers back here for you, and they look good. I'll dive into those in just a minute. But before I do dive into the cost breakdown and everything, I want to make sure that we've got all your questions answered and whatnot as well on how solar works and things like that. Do you have any questions on that?
Okay, so I've talked to so many different people with different propositions and stuff,
Okay.
and well, some of them are like, you're going to buy the system and you're going to own the system, and others are you're going to rent the system, and
Mm-hmm.
others are kind of like a hybrid between the two.
Yep.
So, what exactly is this type of a thing that we're talking about today?
So we have access to just about everything. Chance did say that you guys are currently still paying taxes, right?
I still pay taxes, absolutely.
Okay, good. So the reason I ask is because that kind of determines what option is going to make the most sense for you.
Uh-huh.
Typically, just because the reason that is because there's federal tax credits involved, and if you don't pay into the federal withholdings, then you don't get the tax credit, and that's kind of the biggest difference between where if you lease the panels or do a power purchase agreement. That's where whoever owns the panels gets the tax credit, right? So if you lease them or rent them, then the tax credit goes to the solar company, as well as on that option, the monthly typically goes up just a little bit per year to keep up with inflation. What's most common is when we finance it, the tax credit goes to you, which is nice, and it locks you in on the monthly, so you know what you're paying every single month, and it doesn't go up year over year. So the biggest difference is who gets the tax credit, and who actually is owning the panels. The nice thing is that everything is warranted for 25 years on both programs, so you don't have to worry about anything going wrong even if you are owning the panels. There's warranties in place to make sure that everything's covered that way. But that's kind of the biggest difference. The numbers that I've got here for you are for ownership. Just because you guys are paying taxes, you guys will be able to take advantage of the tax credit. But were you wanting to look at ownership, or were you wanting to lease the panels?
We are going to wind up selling this house within a year, if not sooner.
Okay, okay, no worries.
Because I want to retire. I'm in retirement age already, and
Okay.
my husband's already retired. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that's basically what we want to do. Is, but I realize that having solar on the house will, increase the saleability of the house.
Exactly. Yeah. So the biggest thing on the sellability of the home, especially where you're going to be turning around and selling it really quick, is the ownership of the panels. Because the when you own the panels, it actually increases the value of the home, and you're going to be able to cash in on a little bit of additional equity in the panels themselves as well. So it's going to up the value of your home past what the finance amount is. Is the way that it works, as well as you have the option just to switch the monthly payments when you move. And as far as the new homeowner can just assume the monthly payments, which is quite a bit less than what you're currently spending. We're cutting your electric bill about in half by switching to solar, which is nice. So it is a huge selling factor for the home. Whereas if you lease it, the new homeowner has to assume the lease, and sometimes that can get a little bit tricky because some homeowners don't love that as much. But the ownership, like I said, the ownership's a lot more popular, and especially if you're going to be in the home long enough to get the tax credit, which essentially just means that you have to be in long enough or through the end of the year, then you're able to get the tax incentives on it. You're not planning on moving before the end of the year, are you?
We're not sure. It just depends. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay, no worries, no worries. So I'll kind of dive into this, and then solar's one of those things that it makes sense or it doesn't, and then with just keeping in mind with hey, we may be selling the home, and just as long as you're able to claim the tax credit, everything checks out on this, which is nice. And we'll kind of dive into the numbers on that. Do you have any questions about the way solar works as far as like the way it works as far as connecting to the grid or anything like that?
No, just that they don't want you to have big trees shading your roof, and you probably want somebody reputable if you want them walking around on your roof so they don't jack stuff up.
Exactly.
And,
Yep.
Pretty much. I mean, we don't have any shade on the roof.
Yep.
I have a big tree in the back, but it never shades the roof. I have 2 big palms in the front, but they never shade the roof.
Yep.
Or not long enough for it to make a difference anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm looking at your roof right now, and it looks like it gets pretty much baked with the sun all day.
All day long.
Yep. So
we have one back bedroom that for some reason or another the insulation is not the best in that little area, because that room gets really hot or really cold.
Depends on the year or time of the year, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So I'll kind of recap just exactly how this program works. This might be a little bit of a review for you, but I want to make sure you understand how it works. So the biggest thing with this is that there is no money out of pocket. Like I said, this is financing the panels. So we finance the entire cost of all the system, or all the panels and the electrical components and the install, and all of it is rolled into one lump sum. And you just pay monthly towards that. Like I said, it does lock you in at a fixed flat rate. So if you choose to sell the home and just have the monthly payment transfer, the monthly payment is going to be locked in for the next 25 years. And after 25 years, it drops off. There's no prepayment penalties. So if you want to pay it off sooner, as far as if you wanted to roll it into the cost of the home, the asking price of the home, it is a huge selling point. Especially because Edison's prices continue to increase, and just about everybody's figuring that out. And so if people can come in and not have an electric bill, it helps quite a bit on the sellability of the home. But if they choose to just take over the payments, it's just fixed and flat, so it doesn't increase year over year like Edison has been. The other thing, like I said, there's some tax credits involved that go to you. I'll explain exactly how those work kind of when I break down the numbers for you. And then you will be paying to own these panels, and it builds equity as well. So does that make sense as far as the program? That's kind of it in a nutshell. Do you have any questions on that?
Yeah. No, not really. I think I had asked the person who approached us first, because we've been turned down for solar like 6 or 7 times because, your credit's not good.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was you guys or somebody else who had said something about, well, this isn't based on credit, but I've talked to so many people, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I forget to write people's names down and what company they're representing, so.
Yeah, no worries. Do you know about what your credit score is?
About 640 something.
Okay, we should be good as long as you're above 6. It's good. The way this works is it doesn't pull hard on your credit. It's just a soft credit. It's like if you switch internet, they just look to make sure that you're not wanted by the FBI or anything like that. That's pretty much.
The FBI doesn't want me.
You'd be too much of a handful for them, huh?
Pretty much. They're not ready for me.
They aren't ready. They couldn't handle it. I like that. Well, good. Yeah, we should be.
They can't handle much of anything these days.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms we could open, right? So the nice thing on this, I'll break down the numbers for you. But yeah, we should be able to get this through on the pre-qualification. It's pretty simple. But to eliminate, it looks like your average bill right now is hovering right around the 200 mark. Is that right?
It can go up in the summertime, significantly.
Yeah, I'm seeing
we
that.
We really don't use our air conditioning much. I have a pool, and we're the kind that spend most of our day outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I only turn the air on when my grandkids are here because they start whining about it's too hot.
Yep.
I'm like, there's a pool right there.
Yeah, and part of that as well is because Edison charges a little bit more during the summer than they do during the winter,
Well,
just
of
because.
course, just like the gas prices are going up because all of a sudden everybody can go everywhere because COVID doesn't exist, or I don't know. It's stupid.
It's a crazy world we
My
live in.
husband came back from the gas station and is like, Jenny, the gas prices are going up. I'm like, duh, it's going to be April.
Yep.
It starts to warm up. People get,
People.
squirrely about wanting not to be at home. And so, yeah, the gas company knows this.
Yep, 100%, 100%.
Everybody's going to be out. Let's charge them more. Why not?
Yep.
We can do it.
It's just same thing with the utility. If everybody's running their air, we can charge a little bit more. It's a supply and demand thing. So.
Supply and demand. Yep.
Okay, so here's how it works. So to eliminate, and I like to compare kind of where you're at and where the home is at, just so that we can get an estimate of how this works and just kind of a comparison on the home. So, and just about a $200 average, looking at that over the next 12 months, it's about $2,400 per year. Does that make sense? Are you following my math?
More or less. I mean, if I was to like pull 12 months of utility bills, simply just the electricity, probably work up to that. Maybe, maybe a little more, maybe a little less.
Yeah. And that's what they averaged was, I think it was like 198 and some change was your average over the last 12 months on the electric bill. And that was just based off of the bill that that you gave Chance earlier. And then, so the nice thing is what we're looking at is I like to look at best case scenario with SCE versus worst case scenario with the solar. And this is where it comes in, and it's a nice selling point for the home as well if you guys choose to move in the next year. My best case scenario with Edison in my mind is that they lock you guys in and they never charge you any more rate increases. So just based on the next 25 years, if we times 25 years by $2,400 a year, so this is assuming they never raise rates over the next 25 years on your home, you're spending $60,000 with Edison, best case scenario, right? And so that's kind of what we're looking at comparison wise is best case scenario. We're looking at 60 grand. To eliminate that $60,000 with Edison, we need a total of 24 panels on the roof. The total cost of the 24 panels on the roof, hold on, this is loading for just a second. It's taking a second to load up. Okay, the total breakdown on this, the total system cost of all of the panels and everything installed ends up being $30,535.50. You get a tax credit in the amount of $7,939.23, making the net system cost $22,596, and the monthly payment comes in at $98. So we eliminate the $200 and replace it with the $98.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. And then let's talk about this tax credit, just so you understand how it works. It's about $8,000, just shy of $8,000. So the federal government gives it to you to pay towards the solar. Now you guys are going to have the option to do what you want to do with this tax credit. And especially where you guys are moving, you guys can pocket this. And the way this works is if you guys choose to pocket it after 18 months, so this is assuming the new homeowners want to just transfer the monthly payments, right? If they just transfer the monthly payments, after 18 months, the monthly payment just jumps up to $133. And that's if you pocket the entire tax credit. If you put the tax credit back in, it stays at $98, but it gives you a year and a half to decide what you want to do with the tax credit. Likely you're going to have sold the home by then anyways. Most people just pocket the tax credit because $133 is still significantly less than the $200 average that you're currently spending. And that's where the selling point on it is, just come in and you can actually just roll the cost of the system into the asking price of the home. So you don't have to worry about, the monthly payment stuff. But does that make sense on the tax credit?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any other questions about the numbers?
No.
Okay, awesome.
I've looked at like so many estimates and they're all pretty basic.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
I would appreciate though if you could email email me just, the cost breakdown and stuff just so that I
Yep.
can have it.
Yep, and that's the
No,
next.
I wasn't writing anything down because I'm not
Hey,
near my
yeah, you're good. I'll just kind of recap it for you, and you'll get everything. That's part of the next steps is just emailing you everything over so that you can see it. And then there's a couple of pre-qualifications as well. Like I said, that we break down. But do you have any other questions on the numbers? You said that's pretty well straightforward, right?
It's, I mean, things cost money. And,
Yeah.
you have to pay for them, and
Yep, 100%.
you
Nothing's
have to decide whether or not it's worth your while.
exactly.
In my area, I know that they're really pushing solar, and I don't remember what company it is that came by, but they're one of the companies that wants to lease your roof.
Yep.
And I'm kind of like, is that really a thing? Or?
Yeah, and so that's where I was saying, like, they pitch it as leasing your roof, but it's really just you leasing the panels is what it is, and so you wouldn't be owning it, and that's kind of the way that works.
I asked the guy some questions, and he was a little evasive. And I was
Yep.
like, well, I got dinner on the stove, and I gotta go, so
Yep. No
I'll talk
worries.
to you later and stuff. Because once they're not answering your questions, it's just like, okay.
100%. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I know a bunch of these people around me, they got like smaller installs. Like there's a house down the older house. I think they only have like 12 panels.
Mm-hmm.
And like all of a sudden, we started seeing people climbing on people's roofs around me just within the last 2 months.
Really?
So I know that there's somebody out here really pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's those guys because he says, they're telling us that we need to produce more power, and I can't remember what else he told me. At that point, I wasn't even listening anymore. I was just kind of like, okay, finish talking and go away.
Makes sense. Yeah, I don't blame you. Okay, so let's talk about the timeline as far as just realistically, so I can set the right expectations with you. So the timeline is as such. There's a couple of documents, like I said, that I'm going to send to your email. Everything's pretty simple nowadays. There's a few things we got to click through, make sure you understand everything that's on them, and then you'll have copies of everything like you requested in your email. And then the best email I've got here for you is 49er1955@gmail.com, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And do you have access to that email?
It's checked every day.
Okay, good. And then after that, we schedule what's called the site survey or site inspection. That's basically where my guy comes out. He'll double check the roof, make sure everything's good with it. He'll also take a look at the electrical system and make sure that there's nothing crazy going on there. That everything's up to code and up to snuff, and that there's nothing.
It better be.
It better be. Yep.
2008. So
Yeah, good.
No crazy stuff going on.
Exactly. Yeah, we should be good, but we just got to come out there and confirm it. If there is anything that we've got to do, the nice thing is we can actually put it in when we put the solar in. We just have to know. So like if we need to do a panel upgrade or anything like that, this is when we find out, is when the guy comes out to do the site survey. That's when that happens. And then after that, we jump into design, engineering, permitting, all of that stuff. That's the stuff that can take a little bit of time, especially because COVID's kind of backed some things up. And so as long as you're patient with us, we'll go as fast as we can, but it can take a couple of weeks before we get approval on permits and things.
Hurry.
Okay, good.
I've been here since 08.
Nothing's changing too soon, right? Good.
I ain't going I hope I ain't going anywhere soon.
Yep. Yeah. Not planning on it anyways, right?
It's not in my plan, but man proposes and who disposes.
100%. Yep, 100%. And so and then after we get the permits back, we're able to schedule the install. The actual install itself, they should be able to bust out in a day, maybe 2 tops. And then from there's a couple of inspections that take place with Edison and the city. They come out and just make sure that everything was exactly what we said it was going to be. And then we're able to turn the panels on and they're working. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions on the timeline?
No.
Okay.
It's pretty standard. I mean, like I said, we've been talking to people about solar for 2 years now, and for one reason or another, oh, well, your credit's bad, oh, well, this, oh, well, that, or I just give 25 from the person that I'm talking to, and I'm just like, I don't want to talk to that person anymore.
That makes sense. Hey, no stress there. Hey, Jenny, is Jenny short for anything, or is that your actual name?
Nope, it's just Jenny, not from the block.
I like it. Okay. And then it's Jennie, right?
Yep,
Okay.
Anglo-Saxon spelling.
Awesome.
I don't know why I'm Mexican.
No worries. I like your vibe. You got a fun, bubbly personality to talk
Oh,
to.
I'm a horrible person. I want you to know this. People are afraid of me.
Really? So I should be scared, is what you're
No,
saying.
I'm perfectly harmless. I don't know why people think that I'm like mean, because I'm not. I own 4 chihuahuas, 4 cockatiels, 4 parakeets, a husband. What else do I have? I just have a rabbit that I gave to one of my friends because rabbit poop stinks.
It does, and they poop everywhere they go, right?
Oh, God, it's horrible. I'm like, you're cute as hell, but you gotta go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, hey, the next step on this, I just need your birthday. What's your birthday?
10/30/1955.
10/30.
Classic year.
1955. It was definitely a classic year. You were born right before Halloween.
If I had waited 1 more hour, I would have been born on Halloween.
Oh, really? It was close
My
then.
mother was mad at me her whole life. She passed away a few years ago, but she was mad at me her whole life.
Because you
Why
couldn't wait another
I
hour.
wasn't in charge of anything, okay?
You should have said you should have had me in a different time zone, huh?
There you go.
It was her fault. Hey, what's the last 4 of your social?
It's 1014.
Okay, and then you own the place that you live in, right? It's 2228 West
Well, I don't
Cleveland.
own it outright. I wish I
The
did.
bank does though, right?
Yeah.
You're paying a mortgage on it. Okay,
I paid a mortgage on it. Yes,
awesome.
absolutely.
Okay, and then what is your pre-tax income per year ballpark? Round to the nearest million for me.
Oh God, wouldn't that be nice? I wouldn't have to be talking to you about this. I could just say I'll pay cash.
Yep.
It's let's see, about 60,000, something like that.
Okay, sounds good. And then, is there any other household income?
Well, my husband, he gets like about 11,000 from Social Security, but
Okay, sounds good. No worries here. Okay, just clicking through this really fast. Sometimes it takes a minute to load up. Give me just a second. It'll tell us whether or not this came back approved on the credit thing. This is just, like I said, it's just a pre-screen on the credit, so you're not going to see anything show up on your credit.
I sure hope not. It's amazing how it just knocks your credit down.
Yeah. So this won't affect your credit at all, but it did come back as a decline. Some of the reasons that this could be, if your credit's over 600, is if you've got a little bit too high of a debt to income, or perhaps a late payment on the mortgage, or bankruptcy in the last 7 years. Sometimes they'll look at that, but what we'll do is I'll put together another potential option as well, and then we'll go from there. I'll just kind of look at this. You said it was 10/30/55 was the birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then last 4 of the social again.
1014.
014. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of homework on my end, and then if I'm able to get anything through, I'll let you know. If I'm not, I'll probably just text you and say, hey, it was nice chatting with you, and then we'll see if there's any other options that we have, and I'll keep you posted. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks, Jenny.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good one.
Yep. You too. Bye. Boom. Failed credit.